Good evening, book lovers. Welcome to episode 20 of Cath-Lit Live. I am your host, Amy Cattapan. You can find me everywhere on social media under my pen name, AJ Cattapan. So happy to be joining all of you again after about a month off as I was wrapping up the end of the school year. If you are new to Cath-Lit Live, here's what I do. I bring you interviews with authors who have new books releasing. And today we're going to be talking about a book that has to do with one of my favorite subjects, Divine Mercy. But before I tell you about our guest today, just a quick note about our sponsor. Got to do the sponsorship thing. The Hello app. If you haven't checked them out, go check them out. You can get a premium trial version for 30 days with our special link, hello.app/cathlitlive. I use this prayer app every day, not a joke. I'm using it for the Father Mike Schmidt's Bible in a Year podcast, and I often listen to the sacred music, and then there's special novena challenges and all sorts of wonderful things. So if you haven't checked them out yet, go check out my friends at the Hello app. So tonight, I'm bringing you a guest, someone I have not talked with before. I'm just meeting her now for the first time. Her name is Lara Patangan. She's a freelance writer and inspirational speaker. A wife and mother of two boys, Pettangan spent a year doing works of mercy. She writes about the life-changing power of mercy at larapatangan.com in a way that is humorous, relatable, and rife with humility. Her book, Simple Mercies, How the Works of Mercy Bring Peace and Fulfillment, is available for purchase wherever books are sold. And it just came out at the very end of last month, at the end of May. So please help me welcome Lara Patangan to the show. Hey, Lara, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me here on Cath-Lit Live.
Oh, I'm happy to be here.
Okay, so Divine Mercy is what your book is about, right? I'm going to reread the whole title again. Simple Mercies, How the Works of Mercy Bring Peace and Fulfillment. What is that book about? Just give us the little 30-second elevator pitch for that.
So I wrote, I don't know if I can do anything in 30 seconds. That just is way too much pressure for me. Okay. So I'm just going to tell you.
I'm starting the clock. Go. No.
The book is about how we reach our loftiest goals. You know, we live in an achievement oriented world, and we are taught to strive and to be more, to have more, to do more. It's always about more. And I think sometimes we get to these places where we reach our goal and we're kind of surprised at the emptiness that we feel. And so this book is kind of an alternative as a way to use works of mercy as a way to feel peace in your life that kind of transcends the chase of always looking for more, because I do believe we were created to love and serve others. And so it's just a natural fit that this service kind of feeds and satisfies us in a way that things of the world won't.
Yeah. So what do you hope people will take away from the book?
So many things, really. I mean, I'm ambitious. No, I'm really not. But I think, honestly, one thing I want is very simple. I want people to feel better. I want people to recognize the mercy that they give and receive as an organic part of daily life. I want them to understand that no act of mercy is too small, that it all matters. And when we can recognize our service as a way to love and serve God, through our neighbor, it's so much more satisfying, and it gives so much more meaning to the many mundane acts of service that make up our days, as wives or mothers or coworkers or whatever. It's not that I don't think that we do enough. I think that we don't recognize what we do enough as mercy. And I think when we do, we feel better, and I think we feel more motivated to do more acts of kindness, to serve, to continue to serve in a greater way.
Yeah, I think that's a great purpose. In fact, I was just talking with my dentist earlier today about how challenging the past year and a half have been, right? And how many people are probably suffering from PTSD. And so this idea of feeling better, right? That's one of your main goals through this book, I think is a wonderful thing, because Divine Mercy, I think, can do that for us. Can you talk about what impact mercy has had on your own life?
So really my journey with Mercy began on my 40th birthday, which was 8 years ago. And I decided I was going to spend the year doing corporal and spiritual works of mercy. It was a milestone birthday, and I wanted to do something to mark the occasion. And nothing, like a party or a trip, and nothing was appealing to me. And I think it just kind of reflected where I was, kind of the hollowness that had been growing in my life. And so, this was kind of, to me, I thought it was going to be a fun project, and it was, a way that I could serve and live my faith. And it really was life changing. I mean, it kind of broke me down and built me back up to understand what mercy really is, because I went into the year, thinking that mercy was something that we do for other people, and I never realized how hungry I was for its life-changing grace, and how much it was available to me. And it was through doing all of these acts of service and seeing all of the suffering in my community and in our humanity, and reconciling that with God's mercy, really had a huge impact on me. And the biggest thing that on a personal level I took from it is it changed my relationship with God, because before I really knew his mercy, I don't know that I fully believed that he could love somebody like me. I mean, it, I've been going to church my whole life, but there was always kind of that wall, I think, that was there, that was like, there's really nothing special about me, and there's really a lot of broken things about me. And mercy, just understanding that it was just this gift that he gives to us just so freely and so generously and so unconditionally, made me finally realize that it was available to me too. And it just kind of allowed me to put that guard down, and to know him in a more intimate way. And so I think mercy can be life changing for all of us. I mean, I think that all of us, we need it. We need it from our neighbor. And if you think about all of the times that you've been through something difficult in your life, and just the small acts that people have done for you that can get you through a dark day or a bad day, at the end of our lives, I think that's what we remember about our neighbor. It's not the stuff that's on our resume. It's not the achievement focused stuff. It's the oh, I remember when I was sick, and she brought me a meal, and she showed up for me, or when I was sad and she came over and visited me, or these are the kinds of things that we remember. And while I was out there and I was serving in a very specific way, with different nonprofits, and I counseled a woman that was considering an abortion. I went to Florida State Prison and visited inmates on death row. I mean, I did very difficult
Can
things.
I ask a little technical question then? Because you
Yeah.
spent this year doing these works of mercy. Did you have a plan? Was it like, today I'm going to do this spiritual work of mercy, and then tomorrow I'm going to do this, corporal work of mercy? Did you have a plan like that, or how did you do
I
that for a whole
always
year?
have plans, and then God just like, God has none of it. He has none of Lara's
He
plans.
has his own.
Yeah, he has his own. So yes, I definitely try to, structure it like, oh, this work of mercy would match with this nonprofit or something like that. But what I found too, which was a really important lesson for me to learn, is that just by paying attention, because I was going to do this project, and I had, just by having an awareness and a willingness to serve, I was able to I helped plan a Burmese refugee who died in a car accident. I helped plan his funeral, and I had not known him. I read about it in the newspaper, and I reached out to someone I knew who worked with Burmese refugees, and I said, is there anything I can do to help? And she said, well, what can you do? And which was a very humbling question to be asked, because, um, I thought, well, I don't know. I can cook, which I hate to do, and or I could watch children or whatever. And then she asked me to help plan the funeral, and I had never planned a funeral. But it was just that willingness to show up and be like, I wasn't going to say no,
Yeah.
So, and I think that even though I went about it in a very specific way and with a plan and a way to kind of get it all accomplished and done and make sure that I checked all of the boxes, that I became much more aware, even during that year, of all of the opportunities there were to serve as a part of my daily life, of people, friends, and family, that needed mercy. And it just helped me be more, I think, compassionate and more in touch with what was going on with my neighbor and what I could do.
Did you find any of them harder to do than other? Were there particular works of mercy that, like, bury the dead is one I would not have thought would have been that easy for you to find an opportunity to do, and yet you found an opportunity to bury the dead.
Right. And it was one of the first works of mercy I did. So it was like I think one of the hardest was going to prison. Because I was scared, and my husband didn't want me to go, my mother didn't want me to go. But I didn't want to, I didn't want to back out of it. And part of me was excited to go too, because I had heard, just from so many people who do prison ministry, how beautiful it is. And so I was very excited to see God, in prison. And but I didn't like it. It wasn't for me. And I think that's it just made me sad. It was very sad to me to see other humans living in cages and the limited freedom and limited existence that they have. I get it, that it's necessary and all of that, but it wasn't for me. And then when you talk to some of them, and I talked to one man who was on death row, and he was really nice and socially appropriate, and we prayed with him, everything. And then when we walked away, I asked the deacon who I was with, what he had done, and he drowned a 10-year-old girl. It's hard to reconcile. You see these people and you have so much compassion for them, and then you find out what they did, and it's just, it just was very conflicting, I think.
It takes a certain gift. I once interviewed a priest, a Catholic priest, who worked in prisons in South Africa and then in Texas. And I think that's a certain gift, a certain charism maybe that God gives some people.
It is. And I think, and that's what I learned too. And that's what I would want to encourage people is, don't be afraid of service. And there's a way that we are all, I mean, I know, Amy, you're a teacher, and I consider that like an incredible work of mercy. I mean, first of all, it's instruct the uninformed. And I think, so it's like your vocation as a teacher, you're doing works of mercy already. And, but even if you're not in a job like that, where you have something like that, there are certain things that fit with all of us, and recently I told my husband, I wanted to start doing Meals on Wheels, and I wanted him to do it with me. And he was reluctant, because he said he doesn't want to talk to people. And but I said, well, it's perfect, because I do want to talk to people, and I don't want to drive. And so you can drive and I can talk to people. And but I think that's a great example of just ways to use your gift. He's not serving any less than I'm serving, just, because I'm the face of the meal or whatever. And I think it's just really important to find a way to serve. Some of the things I did that year really were very sad to me, and I don't want to feel that way all the time. And so I think, I had to find a way that I could serve in my community that didn't leave me going through a box of Kleenex when I got home, you
Right.
know, and
Yeah.
there were certainly plenty of service opportunities like that out there. Um, and
So
other
what
people might like that more hands-on, you know, um, stuff, you know,
yeah.
and that's beautiful too. So I just think that we're all so unique, and that's our service does not need to look like what we think it needs to look like, or what our neighbor's service looks like.
Right.
It just needs to happen.
Right. We have to find the works of mercy that fit with our personality and our charisms. So
Yeah.
what motivated you to write this book then after doing this? Was it just that you did all these acts of mercy and then you felt like you wanted to share, or was there more motivation behind it?
I think I fell in love with mercy. I mean, I think it just was so life changing to me that I really was like, um, I don't know. I mean, I feel like, you know, what I always said was, what made me so qualified to write the book, and this is what I would tell publishers, which is might be why it took me so long to find a publisher, was I was the least qualified. That I am not a theologian, I'm not a scholar, very ordinary. And I felt like if I could go out and do these things, then anybody could. And that is our all of our call as Christians, you know, to do that. Um, and I think I just felt, you know, when you don't get something in life and then you do, and you're just like so excited that you get it. Like, I get mercy now, you know, like it used to just be this like fancy word I heard at church, you know, and you're kind of like, what is, you know, that's a church word, and these works of mercy. I mean, could anything sound more archaic than that? You know, it's like it's not hip or cool or whatever, but I can't think of anything that our world needs more than than to act more compassionately towards one another. You know, we've become so intolerant and so tribal in our beliefs and everything. And I think works of mercy is just, you know, it covers so much. It's not just what we think of when we think of feeding the poor. You know, when we think of
Mhm.
serving the poor, we think of food, clothing, shelter. But, you know, we're talking forgiveness. We're talking counsel the doubtful, admonish sinners, you know, call somebody out when they're about to mess up their lives, or somebody else. I mean, that's an act of friendship and an act of love, you know, and just all very important and relevant things. Um, and so I feel like they just need a good like PR agent. And so I'm here to tell you about
PR
the works
agent
of
for the works
mercy.
of mercy. I love it. All right. Well, if people want to find out more about you, Laura, before we wrap up here, where can they find out about you? Are there certain social media outlets you love, or should they just go to your website? What do you think?
Yes, I have a website. It's my name, larapatangan.com. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. I'm technically on Twitter, but I've kind of given up. But follow me, because, you know, maybe if I got more than one little heart every time I posted, I would be more motivated.
All right. Very good. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Laura.
Okay, thank you.
All right, good talking with you. Okay, so I'm gonna say goodbye to her and just remind all of you to go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can be sure to find all of the upcoming episodes when they come out. And if you've read Laura's book, give her some feedback in the comments. And until next time, happy reading, everybody.